Hello, so welcome to Settings TV. Today's edition of Economics, we are going to treat price mechanism. Price mechanism. Price mechanism. What is our price mechanism? It is a situation whereby price is set in an economy. So in an economy, like a capitalist economy, price is set by the interaction of the demand and supply. Price is determined by the interaction of demand and supply. You see, when you talk about the socialist economy, we know that the socialist economy, price is determined by the central plan committee. The central plan committee. But in the capitalist economy, it is different in altogether. Now, capitalist, we have the consumers. Now we have the consumers and we have the sellers. These two, the sellers are not funded or they are not governed by the government. And so they set their own price. And since they set their own price, there should be a mechanism whereby price will be stable and price will be fixed. And so due to that, there is an interaction. There are two forces in that market. The forces of the demand and the forces of the supply. Now, we have to look at price mechanism. There is something called the price or the market equilibrium, right? There's an equilibrium. Now, this equilibrium, when we talk about equilibrium is talking about whereby two opposing forces, when there are two opposing forces, these two opposing forces, when there's a stability between two opposing forces, there's an equilibrium. And so when there's in economics or in price mechanism, those two opposing forces are the demand and the supply. So at this stage, where can we have the equilibrium? Now, equilibrium will come in when these two opposing forces, there is a stability. A stability means when there is a fixed price or fixed point whereby the two forces decide to meet. Okay, so here we move on to something we call, under the price mechanism, we have the equilibrium price. We have the equilibrium price. And we have the equilibrium quantity. Equilibrium price, and we have the equilibrium quantity. Now, at this equilibrium price, as I said, there are two opposing forces, which is demand and supply. And so when these two demand and supply, they agree to meet and decide to be stable, then we have the equilibrium. But at this price, equilibrium price, it is a situation whereby the price or the market price, whereby demand and supply meet. Whereby demand and supply meet. And so demand and supply, when they agree to meet or when they agree to be stable, at that price whereby consumers and the sellers agree to buy and sell. So assuming, when let's say the consumers decide that, okay, I'll buy orange at the price of $2. And so at these $2, the consumers and the sellers, which is the quantity demand and quantity supply, they have agreed that, okay, the suppliers have agreed that you're going to buy this orange $2 they're going to buy 20 orange at $2. And the suppliers has also agreed that they also sell it for that 20 at what? $2. And so this $2 is whereby quantity demand is equal to quantity supply. That's for the equilibrium price. So equilibrium price is a price whereby quantity demand equates or equals to quantity supply. Now let's come to the equilibrium quantity. The consumers and the sellers have agreed to buy a commodity. Consumers, the quantity whereby consumers have agreed, sellers have agreed to sell or to buy a commodity, whereby there will not be extra or excess demand or excess supply. So whereby the quantity whereby the consumers have agreed to buy and the sellers have agreed to what? Sell. So that there will not be excess demand or excess supply. So that is for the equilibrium quantity. Equilibrium what? Quantity. So equilibrium quantity has excess demand. Let's look at excess demand. And let's look at extra demand. We look at excess demand and extra demand. And we look at the excess supply and extra supply, so that we don't get what? Confused. So excess demand is whereby demand exceeds supply. So when you say demand exceeds supply, it means that demand is more than supply. So consumers will demand more, but the producers or the sellers will supply less. At this point, it means that the price is low. Because when the price is low, you realize that consumers will run or decide to buy more of that commodity, because as a rational consumer, you want to buy more at lower price. But the sellers will realize that, okay, if the price has gone down, it means that my profit margin will be low. And so he also decide to sell less. And so with that, see that people will rush, but the goods are not there. And so there will be something called shortage. Because the goods are not there, but people want to buy more. So the fastest will go and buy all of them, but those who want it will not be able to get enough. And so that will give us what? Shortage. So excess demand means the demand exceeds supply. But when you talk about extra demand, it means that there's a new demand, and that demand you subtract it from the equilibrium quantity. And so assuming that equilibrium quantity is a 50. And now there has been a change in price. So when there's a change in price, it will affect the equilibrium quantity to change. So that one you subtract the equilibrium quantity, or you subtract the new quantity from the equilibrium quantity. We'll stop more questions so that you get it. It will be clear for us. Now let's go to the excess supply. Excess supply. As the excess demand means demand exceeds supply. Excess supply will also mean supply will exceed demand. So supply will exceed demand. It means that now the price has increased, and so consumers will not be able to buy more, but suppliers will be okay. Now my profit margin will be more, so I will supply more, but consumers will not buy more because the price has increased. So with that, there will be something called surplus. When it says surplus, it means that there will be more of the goods left because the consumers are not going to buy it. So there will be a lot of goods remain, and that will be called surplus. Always correct. Now let's come to the extra supply. As I said, this one is the new demand. You subtract the new demand from the equilibrium quantity. So the extra supply will also mean that you subtract the new supply from the equilibrium quantity. So this one is the equilibrium quantity. You subtract the new supply from the equilibrium quantity. That's for the extra supply.
Masa, because we need us. You know, one better things, better get them.
Hello, so welcome to Settings TV. Today's edition of Economics, we are going to treat price mechanism. Price mechanism. What is our price mechanism? It is a situation whereby price is set in an economy. So in an economy, like a capitalist economy, price is set by the interaction of the demand and supply. Price is determined by the interaction of demand and supply. You see, when you talk about the socialist economy, we know that the socialist economy, price is determined by the central plan committee. The central plan committee. But in the capitalist economy, it is different in altogether. Now, capitalist, we have the consumers. Now we have the consumers and we have the sellers. These two, the sellers are not bounded, or they are not governed by the government. And so they set their own price. And since they set their own price, there should be a mechanism whereby price will be stable and price will be fixed. And so due to that, there is an interaction. There are two forces in that market. The forces of the demand and the forces of the supply. Now, we have to look at price mechanism. There is something called the price or the market equilibrium, right? There's an equilibrium. Now, this equilibrium, when we talk about equilibrium is talking about whereby two opposing forces, when there are two opposing forces, these two opposing forces, when there's a stability between two opposing forces, there's an equilibrium. And so when there's in economics or in price mechanism, those two opposing forces are the demand and the supply. So at this stage, where can we have the equilibrium? Now, equilibrium will come in when these two opposing forces, there is a stability. A stability means when there is a fixed price or fixed point whereby the two forces decide to meet. Okay, so here we move on to something we call, under the price mechanism, we have the equilibrium price. We have the equilibrium price. And we have the equilibrium quantity. Equilibrium price, and we have the equilibrium quantity. Now, at this equilibrium price, as I said, there are two opposing forces, which is demand and supply. And so when these two demand and supply, they agree to meet and decide to be stable, then we have the equilibrium. But at this price, equilibrium price, it is a situation whereby the price or the market price, whereby demand and supply meet. Whereby demand and supply meet. And so demand and supply, when they agree to meet or when they agree to be stable, at that price whereby consumers and the sellers agree to buy and sell. So assuming, when let's say the consumers decide that, okay, I'll buy orange as 2 cedis. Now these 2 cedis means the producers or the sellers, which are the sellers,
$2.
Okay. $2.
Yeah, you should $2.
Okay. So equilibrium price. Let me start from equilibrium price.
No, that one is there. So buy orange, So that's
orange. Okay.
Yeah, you should $2 than cedis, Right.
Let me start with equilibrium price again. Now, equilibrium price. When we talk about equilibrium price, is a price whereby quantity demand and quantity supply meet, or is whereby quantity demand is equal to quantity supply. And so, when assuming I want to buy orange, now orange quantity demand, that's the consumers. They agree that, okay, we are going to buy the orange at the price of $2. And so at this $2, the consumers and the sellers, which is the quantity demand and quantity supply, they have agreed that, okay, the suppliers have agreed that you're going to buy this orange $2 they're going to buy 20 orange at $2. And the suppliers has also agreed that they also sell it for that 20 at what? $2. And so this $2 is whereby quantity demand is equal to quantity supply. That's for the equilibrium price. So equilibrium price is a price whereby quantity demand equates or equals to quantity supply. Now let's come to the equilibrium quantity. Now when we talk about the equilibrium quantity, it's a quantity whereby the consumers and the sellers have agreed to buy a commodity. Consumers, the quantity whereby consumers have agreed, sellers have agreed to sell or to buy a commodity, whereby there will not be extra or excess demand or excess supply. So whereby is the quantity whereby the consumers have agreed to buy and the sellers have agreed to sell, so that there will not be excess demand or excess supply. So that is for the equilibrium quantity. Equilibrium quantity. So equilibrium quantity, I'll say it once again, is whereby the quantity whereby the consumers have agreed to buy and the sellers have agreed to sell, whereby there is no excess supply or excess demand. Is that clear? And so that will be the equilibrium quantity. Now, the schedule shows the relationship between equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity in a table form, or in a table that shows the relationship between equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity. So how will the table be? So the table looks like, so in economics, when you see table, let's say you have price, we have quantity demand, we have quantity supply. So this is the table, right? So you have 4, 5, and 6. That's the table. Now the quantity demand, we have 70, we have 50, and we have, let's say, 40. Now the quantity supply, we have, let's say, 40, we have 50, and we have 60. Now with this, you can see that the price, quantity demand, and quantity supply, they are all in a table form. Now, what we want to find for the equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity demand in a table form. So this is the table form. So how can we find equilibrium price? The equilibrium price is a price whereby quantity demand is the same as quantity supply, or quantity demand equates quantity supply. So at what price is quantity demand equal to quantity supply? You see that the price is at price 5. Why is it 5? Because at price 5, quantity demand is 50 and quantity supply is 50. So quantity demand equates quantity supply at price of 5. So this 5 is our equilibrium price. And this 50, which is the same, is our equilibrium quantity. I get it. So it is being shown in a table form. And so we have our price to be 5, our quantity to be 50. That's the equilibrium in a scheduled form. Now when it comes to the curve, now as we are showing the relationship between equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity in a table form, for the curve, it's also showing the relationship between equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity in a graphical form. In a graphical form. So we are showing the relationship between equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity in a graphical form. And so it means that we can have the equilibrium like this in a graphical. Graphical means in a curve form. So we have our price here. So now our quantity here. And so at this point, price is the same as what? Quantity. So we can have our demand here and we have our supply here. So whereby demand and supply meet, that will give us our equilibrium price. And whereby demand and supply meet, at this quantity we have equilibrium quantity. And so you realize that demand is meeting supply in a graphical form. So whereby we have showing the relationship between equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity in a graphical form will give us, or is going to talk about the curve. I hope it's is clear. Now let's go to the function. The functions is talking about the relationship between equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity in a mathematical form. So in a mathematical form, we have two equations. Example, two equations as quantity demand is equal to 4p minus 8 and quantity supply is equal to 2p plus 5. So with that, the quantity demand is equal to 4p minus 8 and the quantity demand is equal, quantity supply is equal to 2p plus 5.
4p minus 8.
Minus what? 3. Sorry, so 4p minus 3 and quantity supply is equal to 2p plus 5. So we are going to solve these two equations simultaneously to find for our equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity. And so we are going to get, since we are saying that equilibrium price, we are going to look for the equilibrium price first. And equilibrium price, we said that it is the price whereby demand is equal to supply. Quantity demand is equal to quantity supply. And so equilibrium price is equal to quantity demand is equal to what? Quantity supply. So we are going to weigh the quantity demand to the quantity supply. And so we are going to get what is our quantity demand is 4p minus 3 equal to our quantity supply is 2p plus 5. So here it is very simple for us to get our equilibrium price. And so 4p, we are supposed to group the like terms. So this 2p will come this side and this 3 will go to the other side. So you have 4p minus 2p, because when you cross the equal sign, it becomes negative. Equal to 5, this one will cross and become positive, plus 3. 4p minus 2p will give us 2p, equal to 5 plus 3 will give us 8. And so you divide here by 2, divide this side by 2, and p will give us what? 2 goes here 1, 2 goes here 4. So our equilibrium price is equal to what? 4. So this price, at this price, consumers have agreed to buy and the producers or the sellers have agreed to sell. That's the equilibrium price. Now, how can we get our equilibrium quantity? In simultaneous equation, getting your price, or in this one, getting your price, we can put the price either in the quantity demand equation or the quantity supply equation. And so I will choose to put in the quantity demand equation. So quantity demand is equal to 4p minus 3. So where I'll see p, I'll put 4 there. So we are getting 4 into bracket 4 minus 3. 4 times 4 will give you 16. So 16 minus 3. So 16 minus 3 will give us 13. So this 13 will give us the equilibrium quantity. For us to be sure that our 13 is correct, let's put our 4 in the supply. And if you get the same answer, then it means that our answer is correct. And so I'm going to put this 4 into the quantity supply. So quantity supply is equal to 2p minus plus 5. So 2 into bracket 4 will be here, so 4 plus 5. 2 times 4 will give you 8 plus 5. And the answer will be what? 13. So meaning that at price of 4, quantity demanded is 13 and quantity supply is 13. And so our equilibrium price will be 4 and our equilibrium quantity will be 13. So in a mathematical form, I was able to find a relationship between equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity. That will be the function. Let's solve this question. We have price, quantity supply, and quantity demand. When price is 3 cedis, quantity supply is 16,000, quantity demand is 3,000. When price is 2 cedis, 50%, quantity supply is 13,000, quantity demand is 5,000. When price is 2 cedis, quantity demand supply is 9,000, quantity demand is 9,000. When price is 1 cedi 50 pesos, quantity supply is 6,000, quantity demand is 14,000. When price is 1 cedi, quantity demand is 3,000, quantity supply is 3,000, quantity demand is 19,000. When price is 50 pesos in Ghana currency, we are in Ghana, so this is the Ghana currency, is 1,000 units and quantity demanded is 26,000. Now let's go to the question number 1. Find equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity. And so our equilibrium price, so question number 1, and our equilibrium quantity. For the equilibrium price, I said that is the price where quantity demanded is equal to quantity supply, or quantity demanded equates to quantity supply. So the price in which demand is equal to supply, that will give us our equilibrium price. So at price trade, demand is different from supply, is different from demand. At price 2 cedi 50 pesos, the supply is different from demand. But at price of 2 cedis, demand supply is equal to what? Demand. And so at that point whereby demand is equal to supply, or at the price whereby supply is equal to demand, will give us the equilibrium price. And so our equilibrium price from this question is 2 cedis. 2 cedis. So it's a price whereby demand, consumers are willing to buy and suppliers are willing to sell. Now, if the price, equilibrium price is 2 cedis, then each quantity will be the equilibrium quantity. So quantity whereby consumers are willing to buy and sellers are willing to sell, or suppliers are willing to sell. So here is 9,000, here is 9,000. And so whereby supply is equal to demand, that quantity is called the equilibrium quantity. And so in this question, the equilibrium quantity is 9,000. How that one helps? So we have gotten our equilibrium price and our equilibrium quantity. Now let's move on to the question number 2. Find excess demand. Now previously I said that excess demand is whereby demand exceeds supply, or demand is more than supply. That will give you the excess demand. Now the question is saying that find excess demand when price is 1 cedi 50 pesos. When price is 1 cedi 50 pesos. And so question number 2, excess demand. So when price 1 cedi 50 pesos. So let's go to 1 cedi 50 pesos. Here, demand is more than supply. So our demand will be equal to what? 14,000. And our supply will be equal to 6,000. And so when we want to find for our excess demand, you will realize that we are going to, the demand will be more than supply. So it's going to be demand, quantity demand, minus the quantity of supply. Quantity demand minus quantity supply. And so what is our demand here? Demand here is 14,000. Minus our supply here is 6,000. And so 14,000 minus 6,000 will give us the 8,000. So which means that our excess demand in this question is what? 8,000. So it means that 8,000 becomes our shortage. It means that we need 8,000, the consumer need more 8,000 goods to buy. More 8,000 goods to buy, but the suppliers are not able to get or attain what the consumers want. And so we need small extra 8,000 goods to buy. And which means that we are going to get what? Shortage. When demand is more than supply, we are getting shortage. Now let's go to the extra demand. Now extra demand, that one deals with the extra demand when price is 150 pesos. For extra demand, we are going to look at the equilibrium for the demand and the new equilibrium or the new demand. Sorry, the equilibrium and the new demand. That's what we are going to compare. For the excess demand, for the extra demand, supply is not included. It's the new demand where price has moved from to 150 pesos and the equilibrium demand or the equilibrium quantity. And so our new demand, our new quantity demand will be equal to 14,000. Right, 14,000. And our equilibrium quantity will give us 9,000. And so our extra demand is going to be the new quantity minus the equilibrium quantity. Right? So what will be our new quantity is 14,000 minus the 9,000. And so when you do that, our answer will be 5,000. So this 5,000 is the extra demand when price moves from 2 to 150 pesos. That's the excess demand. So you can see the difference between the excess demand and the extra demand. The excess demand deals with demand and supply, but the extra demand deals with the new quantity or the new demand minus the equilibrium quantity. Okay, so that is for the question number 2. Now let's go to the question number 3, which deals with the excess supply. So excess supply, when you see the EX is the excess supply, and when you see the EX is the extra demand. Now, for the extra demand and excess demand and extra demand, when price move to 2 cedis 50 pesos. So this one, the price is 2 cedis 50 pesos. I hope we are going. So price is 2 cedis 50 pesos. Let's look at the 2 cedis 50 pesos is above the equilibrium. It's above the equilibrium. And so if it's above the equilibrium, we are getting quantity supply to be 13. So quantity supply to be 13,000. Whereby our quantity demand is 5,000. So excess supply, the formula for excess supply is going to be opposite. Quantity supply minus quantity demand. Quantity supply minus quantity demand. So we having our quantity supply in this question because when the price is 2 cedis 50 pesos, we have our demand supply to be this and demand to be this. So what our quantity supply is ES is equal to 13,000 minus 5,000. And 13,000 minus 5,000 will give us 8,000. That's the extra or the excess supply. So we are dealing with the excess supply, then when the price moves, at that price, the demand and the supply. So 250 pesos, you subtract this one from this, and that will give you the excess supply. Now let's go to the extra supply. Now with the extra supply at price of 250 pesos, where is the 250 pesos? It's here. So that one, we are going to compare the new supply and the equilibrium quantity. The old supply and the equilibrium quantity. So the old supply, so let's go to the equilibrium quantity. Sorry, the equilibrium quantity. So the equilibrium quantity will give us 9,000. And our new supply, the new supply will give us 13,000. So we are going to compare the new supply and equilibrium quantity. The new supply and equilibrium quantity. And so our extra supply is going to be, you're going to subtract the new supply. The NS is the new supply. And then EQ is the equilibrium quantity. So minus our equilibrium quantity. So it's going to be 13,000 minus 9,000. And we are going to get 4,000. And this one will give us our extra supply. No, the extra supply. That will give us the extra supply. And so this, we are done answering the question. I'm going to give you another question which you are supposed to solve and send it to me on my WhatsApp number. I'll put my WhatsApp number at the end of the video so that after solving, you send the answers to me and we'll go through together. So we are going to look at how to find equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity using the demand and supply equation. Using the demand and supply equation. And so for us to find for equilibrium price and our equilibrium quantity. For equilibrium price, we are supposed to equate, because we know that at the equilibrium price, quantity demanded is equal to quantity supply. Right? So if we have quantity demand to be equal to quantity supply, then definitely we are going to be equating our equations, the quantity demand equation to the quantity supply equation. And so let's take an example and let's solve and see how best we can do. So quantity demand, let's take quantity demand is equal to 32 minus 2p, whereby we have quantity supply to be 4p minus 10. 4p minus 10. 4p minus 10. And so, to find our equilibrium price, you equate your quantity demand to your quantity supply. And so, this is our equation. Our quantity demand is 32 minus 2p is equal to quantity supply is 4p minus 10. Now, what are we going to do? We will try and group like terms. And so, this, let me take this 2p there and a 10 here. So you have 32 plus, when this crosses, it becomes positive, plus 10 is equal to 4p. When this crosses, it becomes positive, so 2p. Now 32 plus 10 is going to give us 42, equal to 4p plus 2p is going to give us 6p. And so when you divide, you're going to divide here by 6 and here by 6. So our p is equal to 7. So our p is equal to 7. Now this p is our equilibrium price. Our equilibrium price. This is our equilibrium price. Now, so we are putting our equilibrium price. Now, how can we find for our equilibrium quantity? We are going to put this equilibrium price either in quantity supply equation or quantity demand equation. So I'll do it here. So I'll choose quantity demand. So quantity demand is equal to 32 minus 2p. So our quantity demand, so I'm going to put this 7 into the p. So 32 is minus 2 into bracket 7. So 32 minus 2 times 7 is 14. And so 32 minus 14, so whatever you are going to get will be our equilibrium quantity. So you are going to get 18. So for you to be sure that your answer is correct, what are you supposed to do? Put the same 7 into the quantity supply. If you are able to get 18, then it means that you are on the right track. And so quantity supply is equal to 4p minus 10. And so our quantity supply is equal to 4p. We're going to put the 7 into wherever we see p. So 4 to bracket 7 minus 10. 4 times 7 will give us 28. So we are getting 28 minus 10. Now 28 minus 10 will give us 18. And so you realize that our quantity demand is the same as our quantity supply. And that shows that we are correct. You are on the right track. So this economically or in economics, it means that at price 7, consumers are willing to buy 18 of the commodity and suppliers are willing to sell 18 of the commodity. That's what it means. So at price 7, consumers want to buy 18 and suppliers are willing to sell 18. So our equilibrium price is 7 and our equilibrium quantity is 18. So let's try and plot this one on a diagram or on the curve. Let's draw a curve for it. So let's take it this way. For we have price to be 7 and 8, so we can make here 2. The price here. Here's our price and here's our quantity. So here will be 0. So let's take this side. You always get your scale. Find your scale. I'm having 7 here. What scale can I choose? I can choose that because my line is short, I can choose 2 centimeters is to 2 units. So to that, every 2 centimeters I write 2. So 2 centimeters 4, 2 centimeters 8, 6, 2 centimeters 8, and 2 centimeters 10. But here, the quantity, as here the quantity, as our quantity is 18, I can also use 2 centimeters to, let me use 2 centimeters into 2 units, and let's see, my line is short, so I'll use 2 centimeters into 5 units. 2 centimeters into 5 units. So I have 5, 10, 15, and 20. Because my line is short. So I'll look where I can find 7 on the price and 18 on the quantity. So where can I find my 7? 7 will be between 6 and 8. So the middle of 6 and 8 will be what? 7. And the 18, so 18 will be between 15 and 20. So let's say 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. So 16, 17, 18. So I'll put the 18 to here, and that one will also go up here. And that will be our equilibrium. Right, that will be our equilibrium. So you draw your demand as you draw your supply. So this one will be my demand and this one will be my supply, demand. And this one will give the equilibrium price and the equilibrium quantity. So I'll put a question on the board and I want you to solve it and send it to me on my WhatsApp number, which I'll write it down on the board after right now. I'll write it on the board. And please don't forget to subscribe and don't forget to hit the notification button so that any new video I post, you'll be able to receive it. Thank you, and thank you for watching. Alright, so we have two questions on the board. We have the question 1 and question 2. So for the question 1, price, we have price, quantity demand, and quantity supply. Another price, we have 30. Now the price is in Ghana cedis. So we have 30 cedis, 27 cedis, 18 cedis, 15 cedis, and 12 cedis. Now quantity demand, we have 2, 4, 10, 12, and 14. And quantity supply, we have 18, 16, 10, 8, and 4. Now the questions under, the question number 1 says, find equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity from the table. 2, find excess demand and extra demand when price is 15. And question number 3, find the excess supply and extra supply when price is 27. So you solve it and you send it to me on my WhatsApp number, which I'll write it on the board after reading the question. Now the question number 2, we have quantity supply and quantity demand equation. The equation for quantity supply is 3p minus 20, and the equation for quantity demand is 50 minus 2p. Now that's the only question. So calculate equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity, and plot the equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity on the graph or on a graph. Right. So you solve it for me and you send it to me on my WhatsApp number, which is 05058480056. Or those outside the Ghana is 23358480056. My name is Timothy Cheche, or you can call me Sir Tim. So thank you for watching, and I'm expecting the answer on my WhatsApp number. And please don't forget to subscribe my YouTube channel, Sir Tim's TV. Thank you, and see you soon.